Hello, welcome to my channel where I bring you amazing stories and lessons that last a lifetime. Today's story is a story of Kvewe, the cursed queen. A story about envy and unforgiveness, its consequences, and the unexpected turns that life can take. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscription button and ring the bell to stay updated on my latest content. Now, let's get started. In a faraway land, nestled within the lush confines of the African terrain, in a valley adorned with countless hills, is the majestic kingdom of Iri, renowned far and wide for crafting the most exquisite garments in Africa. At the center of this sartorial brilliance was Kvewe, a woman whose talent for creating intricately detailed attire was unparalleled. Her reputation spread, attracting the attention of chiefs and nobles across the land, eventually reaching the illustrious halls of the king's palace. Kvewe's designs, valued for their beauty and craftsmanship, caught the eyes of the king himself during a weekly council meeting with his chiefs. Impressed by the finesse of the fabric adorning his advisors, the king eagerly sought to learn the artisan behind these masterpieces. The chief's unanimous praise of Kvewe led to an invitation from the king for her to make clothes for the royal family, a request she accepted with honor. Arriving at the palace, Kvewe was struck by its opulence. As she was ushered into the king's presence, alongside his 2 wives and 3 daughters, the king's admiration for her was evident. Despite this, Kvewe remained focused on her mission. The royal family expressed their eagerness for the attire, granting Kvewe 2 weeks to fulfill the order. During this period, the king frequently visited Kvewe, claiming to check on the progress, but their encounters soon blossomed into a fondness for each other's company. Upon completing the royal commission, the king proposed to Kvewe, who shared his feelings. Their union was celebrated with a lavish wedding that attracted dignitaries from across the continent, marking the beginning of Kvewe's new life as queen. Our elevation not only enhanced the business, but also brought prosperity to the kingdom of Iri. As Kvewe, respected by the kings and chiefs, played an active role in governance, further boosting the economy. Despite her achievements, Kvewe remained humbled and maintained a respectful distance from the king's other wives, who viewed her with envy. As Kvewe navigated a new royal life, she balanced her duties to her business, her husband, and the kingdom with grace. However, after giving birth to her first child, a son, the jealousy among the other wives intensified, leading them to conspire against her with the help of the spiritualist. The plot against Kvewe ended in a curse that tragically led to the loss of a child and rendered her unable to bear more children. The king's affection turned to scorn, isolating Kvewe from the royal favor and the warmth of her people. As Kvewe struggled with her newfound isolation and the stark reality of her situation, the narratives unfold into a touching tales of betrayal, pain, loneliness, and the resilience the human spirit in the face of adversity. The weight of her circumstances began to eat at Kvewe's spirit, increasing the void left by her loss and encasing her in an ever-tightening cocoon of loneliness. As time passed, the kingdom suffered from economic recession, and the king erroneously laid the blame at her feet, ending in the king divorcing her and sending her out of the palace. This marked the beginning of Kvewe's descent into humiliation as the townsfolk, influenced by rumors of a curse, ostracized her, subjecting her to daily torment and humiliation. Her once glorious aura dimmed, shadowed by the misfortunes that had befallen her. In a cruel twist of fate, the queens made a mockery of what little dignity Kvewe had left by leading other women in the kingdom to humiliate her publicly, calling her a witch. This pushed Kvewe to a breaking point, leading to a forceful banishment from the kingdom amidst public scorn. Bereft of dignity and shelter, she wandered in the mountains, succumbing to despair until a fateful encounter with a spiritualist, the very harbinger of her downfall, offered a glimmer of sanctuary. In the seclusion of the spiritualist hut, Kvewe found an uneasy comfort. Kvewe often suffered from bouts of rage and sorrow as she struggled with the reins of her broken spirit. Over time, a bond formed between her and the old man, and they lived as man and wife. One day, the spiritualist instructed her to gather some leaves. Along the way, she realized she has forgotten the port and returned to the hut. There, she overheard voices and recognized the voice of the king's first wife. Listening to their conversation, she discovered that the same spiritualist who is now her husband was the one who administered the curse. A surge of bitterness consumed Kvewe. Reflecting on the situation, she understood that the spiritualist will never lift the curse, as doing so might lead the king to reinstate her as queen. Knowing his part in her misfortune, she resolved to seek revenge on all who had wronged her. She began to understudy the spiritualist, delving into sorcery until she deemed herself proficient. Then she brought the alliance to a tragic end by murdering the spiritualist in his sleep and setting fire to his hut. Consumed with vengeance, Kvewe returned to Iri, disguising as a beautiful young lady, Waire. She caught the eye of the king, and the king made her his third wife. As Waire became queen, she unleashed a reign of terror upon the kingdom, afflicting the king with an incurable disease. She drove the first wife to madness and killed their 3 children. The second wife, along with the nobles and chiefs, were turned to slaves under her tyranny, while the citizens suffered under her cruel reign, some driven to madness, others afflicted with incurable diseases. When confronted by the people about her hideous actions, Kvewe revealed her true identity as Kvewe. On seeing her, the king drew his final breath, a sign of the kingdom's dire situation under a wicked rule. People who tried to run away from the kingdom were caught and sentenced to death. Her very essence was pain to the people of Ewe. Driven by a singular purpose, she transformed Ewe into a wasteland. One day, a servant brought an elderly man before Queen Kvewe, claiming he had information of great importance to her. When questioned by the queen, the man's revelation shook her to her core. Her son, Yere, assumed to be dead, was alive. Stunned by this revelation, the queen dispatched her servants to accompany the man and bring her son to her. When presented with the young man, she ordered his clothes removed, revealing the same birthmark on her late husband, the king's body. The old man proceeded to recount the tale of how her son had survived the attempted murder and how he was entrusted to him by the spiritualist for safekeeping. Though overjoyed at the news of her son's survival, Kvewe's happiness was tempered by the grim reality that she had only a short while to live. The removal of the curse came at the cost of her own life, and with only a short period remaining of her allotted years. Faced with the weight of her past actions, Kvewe resolved to spend her remaining time helping Yere rebuild the kingdom of Ewe. She passed the crown to Yere, reinstalled the chiefs, and decreed that the second wife must remain imprisoned for the duration of her life as punishment. In her final act as queen, Kvewe sought to undo the damage wrought by her previous reign of tyranny. She worked closely with Yere, impacting knowledge and strategies to ensure the prosperity and stability of Ewe. Her actions, once driven by vengeance, were now guided by a desire for atonement and the progress of her kingdom. Her efforts extended to revitalizing the land, which had been cursed by her magic. Through ancient rituals and relinquishing of power, she sought to lift the curse that plagued Ewe, restoring fertility to the soil and abundance to the land. Yere, under her guidance, grew into a wise and just leader, admired by the people for his dedication to rebuilding the kingdom and his compassion for those who had suffered. In her last act of sovereignty, Kvewe convened a gathering of the kingdom's elders, Yere and the people she had wronged. There, she publicly acknowledged her misdeeds, asking for forgiveness and urging unity and peace for the future of Ewe. She passed away quietly, her son and a few loyal servants by her side. Her death marked the end of a turbulent chapter in Ewe's history, but also the beginning of a new era of hope and a brighter tomorrow. A legacy once marred by darkness was remembered as a cautionary tale about the consequences of envy, vengeance, and the power of forgiveness. The kingdom of Ewe, under the leadership of Yere, flourished. The lands healed and the people prospered. Kvewe's story is a sad reminder of the complexity of the human heart, and it remains a cornerstone of Iri's history. And there you have it, the story of Kvewe, the cursed queen. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and join my community. Until next time, remember that life is a journey of lessons, and sometimes the hardest choices lead to the most profound growth. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.